So it's sort of like understanding presence then, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In a way. See, there was one time at a family gathering that we had where my grandfather came round and different stuff like that. A lot of my family did. But he stayed over the night with my nan. And although I saw him, spoke to him and all the rest of it, the night moved on, yes? Everyone went off to do their own sort of thing. And then the next day when he left, my nan and grandfather, something left with him. And I was sort of staring there sort of thing, and then my mum was like, yo, what's up with you? I was, just, it feels different. And she was like, yeah, that's because granddad's gone, that's what that, sort of dismissive and walks off.
Yeah.
But it was Steve that was looking at me, and he was like, you just said what I was trying to process myself. He didn't say process, he said it in another way. And he then told me that that's presence. Although I was in my room, you see, he wasn't in the room. He was in the house.
Yeah.
But there was something in the house too.
Something
that made
left
you
with him. Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
Something that made you sleep better. Yeah, do you? There's no way I can explain that. Like you. But Steve told me that was presence, and that's what I was then understanding then, because a few videos have been talking about this, and I was like, is it the same? But there was that, and some people I've been in a house with, and it didn't feel
It didn't do that.
right. It was the opposite too. And some people I've been in a house I've been in, and it's felt that sort of niceness, not exactly the same, but there was some level, and in another one it was an agitated atmosphere. Not safe.
Yeah.
Now that was strange, right? I didn't know these people from Adam, the rest of the people. I just went and stayed over someone's house.
Yeah.
And most of the night I couldn't sleep. I couldn't rest. Something had me guarded. And nothing really happened, but something had me on, I like to call it prepared mode, yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this happened before the thing with my grandfather. I didn't really pick up on it. It's hard to articulate it. But the person that I was staying around, his brothers were known to just automatically flip out. When I mean flip out, they would smash the fucking house up, probably chase their other brothers with knives and shit. I know, it's not pleasant, but whether they would actually do that or not, but I didn't know this at the time. It's not something that, my brother gets a bit in a mad rage, and so does the other one sometimes. Sometimes they beat the shit out of each other. Sometimes they chase me out the house with them, this, that, and the other. That didn't happen until it was other people. Well, how it happened is one particular evening it kicked off, as it did so, their words, often, and people got called, people were in there trying to grab the story from what happened, what's going on, and then other people around started to open up and say that they had seen similar situations, But that atmosphere in the air, I didn't know any of this stuff until afterwards, when people were saying, oh, what happened over there the other night? What was it? This. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's nothing, someone else's gossip, and I was just in earshot of hearing this gossip being exchanged. But was that why I was so guarded? Is that why I couldn't sleep? Is that why I was know where the exits were? Yeah, but how can you feel that? You see, then this would be a level of, people would say psychic, wouldn't they? But it's not. There was an uneasy feeling there. It was uneasy. You couldn't rest very well. And it was like shit could go down at any minute type feeling. It's a vibe. That picking up on that. I don't know. That's how I've been. I don't know. It sort of hits you that you sort of can read that.
Yeah.
But my question is, what is it? What allows you to pick up on that? Because some people will dub this as just, oh, it's just paranoia. That is not paranoia. If I'd have said my version of, oh, you know, someone did ask me, oh, how did you sleep? Not good. Oh, it's probably just a dodgy night.
Yeah,
It's so dismissed. Like, and
Or
anyone I said it
you are
to.
not used to this bed,
This
or you
bed,
are not
or it's the
used
smell.
to this house,
Yeah, or it's
someone was noisy.
creaky noises or
Yeah.
something.
But-
Some people might also label that as haunted.
Mhm.
Probably because the building's haunted.
But
Yeah,
you know, then you go somewhere else and you sleep like baby, even though the bed is squeaking and something.
Yeah.
So no, it's not just that, is it?
And it was this. I don't know. I don't think that was the first time I picked up on that. I think we all have this in us as kids.
Yeah.
You know, read mum's mood, read dad's mood. Yeah, and I think that sort of like magnetism imprints us. Yes, it makes an impression, a status quo. Yes, so you can resonate with that field. Know your place. This sort of, and then I think that we're like pottery. You know, there's certain pottery that when it's fired, it holds on. The crystal structure in it formulates to the magnetic field. That's how you can date pottery, just by looking at the slight movement in the alignings, I think is what it is. But I think we have this in us that is the overall picture is the planetary alignment, yes, and magnetism alignment,
Yeah.
so that we're then able to function in the world without noticing the hum of the earth, the grinding plates, the wind terribly much. You know, certain levels need dropping off. It'd be a pain in the ass if you could see all the air molecules, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like if that was clouding your vision. But it is there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that your brain is wired to not see it. What else are we wired not to see? Think about it. When you go into water, you can see all of that stuff. It's very blurry. It's hard to see things unless it's close up, right?
Yeah.
But fish, do you think that they see that? Because you automatically think it, don't you? You assume that fish see just as cloudy.
Yeah. What we see, fish see, but
That's not true. I think they see that cloudedness when they get lifted out of the water and they can see all the... Why would they not need to see the atmosphere?
yeah.
So they do see it, but their brain, or whichever part you want to say that it is, the cells and whatnot, is responsible for removing most of that murkiness so that they don't see it. So that they can function in that environment when they're born into it. This is why I think it's the seen and unseen. If you ever want to understand what spiritual insight is all about, or whatever you want to dub it, universal or God or divine or collected, all of this stuff it's been removed to a part. It's been removed. You know, if you were to tell someone back in time, did you know there's loads of little bits in here that make up this invisibleness that we see? And they would say, no, there's no way. Yeah, there is. We'll prove it. Well, you couldn't prove it at the time. And then science develops and progresses and moves forward, and then they look at it and think, my God, there is lots of jumbling going on inside this atmosphere. It's not empty. Although it appears to look empty,
Yeah.
it's still, there's a lot happening. Just that our brains have been wired not to see it,
Yeah.
because it would get in the way. What would that do? It would stop us from being able to hunt. It would stop us being able to eat. It would stop us being able to marry the environment together.
Yeah.
And the same with fish. Why do they see the atmosphere when they take out of water? Well, because they're never out of the water.
Because that's something. Yeah.
Or how would they know they're out of the water? think about it. You know you're in water because you see it, you feel it, you sense it, yes?
Yeah, you do.
So you know you're in water and it's probably best to get back into the clear perception again.
Mm-hmm.
But the fish, if it jumped out of water and it still could see in the environment, it wouldn't have a fear response to try and jump until it finds a clear, its environment, its tuned frequency.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying with that. I know it's very hard to articulate it, but... And then what other things are seeing things, truly seeing things? And what have they been tuned out not to see?
If you think about like flies and bugs, they have different eyes, don't they?
Well, they have different eyes and they have a different perception of time.
Yeah.
And they have a different perception of speed. And a different perception of reflexes. A squirrel we might see that jumps from one tree branch to another.
Yeah.
We think, cool, that's too quick. If you were to do that, it's... But theirs, they see everything slower.
Yeah.
So that is how they're able to calculate the next branch on, because they're seeing everything and living in a slower time perception than what we are.
Yeah. True.
And that's why we say reflexes. It's not, it's time perception. They probably see it, they've got used to it, it's hard to explain it. We can see certain things that others can't see. This one can't see this one can't see this one can't see it. But what they can't see makes room for things they can see.
Yeah, and because they are lighter, it's also, they feel different, not just see different. All of the animals like smaller ones.
So would you ever be truly aware of pollution if it crept up slowly, slowly, slowly? The next ones that are born, won't they have different filters in the eyes to not be able to see?
I don't see it, but I remember times when I could see it, but it was in specific landscape where you are higher up and you see the valley before you and you see the grayish,
Yes.
pinkish layer because it's otherwise quite clear day and the sun is not completely high but slightly lower when
See,
it's in the afternoon.
That's very true what you say. And therefore, being in it, you don't see it. But when you get higher and change your elevation and look down, you see it. But you always forget to look up. How do the stars look above that?
Yeah,
How does the sun look?
yeah,
Is it changing the color of the sun?
Yeah.
Does it change the color of the stars? Are you seeing more clearly? And then when we factor in atmosphere, if we were outside the atmosphere and looked at the stars, we would see them for truly what they are.
yeah.
So the atmosphere must be magnifying, or I don't know what the reverse of that is.
Oh, me neither.
I
don't
always
know
forget. I
what-
should really look it up. I will do. But either one way we're seeing it through the opposite end of binoculars,
Yeah,
more distant.
yeah, yeah. Further away, yeah.
So it's more further away, but that's perspective. And again, until you're outside it and then
Feels
look
like
up,
it, yeah.
things are going to look a lot more either clearer or they're going to seem more realistic.
Yeah.
And then even then, that isn't the be-all and end-all, because if you look at the moon from a distance and then you start coming up close to it, this is one of probably the weirdest thing that any astronaut going towards the moon would experience, is, my word, how it begins to start formulating. What you see from a distance tricks you again, because when you get closer and closer and closer and closer, the details start to really come out. And oh my god, I might start to see a few colours here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some orange stuff over there.
Mhm.
Oh, is there some green? Is there this? You know, not saying that it's vegetation, but you then begin to see... So we look at Mars from a distance.
Yeah.
Now you have all the pictures and you're like, yeah, interesting. And then when NASA land on there with cameras, it's like, oh.
And
You're seeing
then-
in more detail
yeah,
and more...
then you are in awe and you like, oh, it looks like something real. It's not just imagination.
So we're predisposed to be immune to our environment by being born into it.
Yeah.
So if we had Marslings, people born on Mars, they would not notice the orange that you were talking about. Cool, it looks really orange and dusty here. Don't know what you're on about.
Yeah.
Bring them to Earth. Cool, it's a bit blue here, innit?
Yeah.
Oh my days, it's doing my eyes in. How do you guys function here seeing all that blue.
Yeah, we are used to
You're so
warm,
used to
nice warm colors.
And then you're used to water,
Yeah,
moisture everywhere. They've got moisture, but you'd have to extract it in a different way.
yeah,
And bit by bit, do you know, you couldn't experience what that feels like. And then really sensitive beings
yeah.
that go from been living on Earth and then go to the moon, the gravitational rotation is different. It's more of a pull force
Yeah.
on top of around. You're gonna feel it. It's gonna. It's gonna take me a couple of days to get used to this. Someone that was born on the moon, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they come on the Earth and they're like, "Phew, I feel a little bit, which would be labelled with someone else and dismissed as dizziness.
Yeah,
Oh, you feeling all right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling fine. Why?
Would be just like that, wouldn't it?
I'm sure in here somewhere I've got a chemical for you. It'll help, I promise. Right? You know, this is how it gets. And then, what about people that live on Mars, have been there like 80 years, we're just hypothetically talking, and then they come to the Earth. Do you think they're going to be oversensitive to nature? They'll have allergies, guaranteed to have allergies.
Yeah.
Because they're not born into it. They're not building up immunity or tolerance. And then they come here and they'll just break out in hives, no doubt. Oh man, this stuff is itchy.
Yeah, stuffed nose from.
Stuffed nose.
Yeah,
And the smell.
yeah.
The smell of the planet. You don't understand how stinky it is. Leave some water in a wash machine for a few days with some cloves.
No, go for 3 weeks into mountains as I did as a kid. Then we went on school in the nature and then came back on train to Prague. And when we went, because it's like quite away from Prague, over the whole Czech Republic, it's in Slovakia was. So it was quite alright, and then there was a little bit of smell when we started to go through the Czech Republic, but not the region where they grow the vines and where people have the small fields for themselves and stuff like that. But the closer we went to the central Bohemia, where Prague is in the middle, the smellier it was, and when we came to Prague, we were all like,
You can start to smell the sewers.
Yeah, yeah.
You can begin to smell all
Yeah.
the water, the
And that
stagnation.
was
Yeah.
just 3 weeks away. Just 3 weeks.
So, how did we start this video? I started it with saying about vibration, yes?
Yeah.
Presence.
Presence, yeah.
So how do you know your nation isn't giving you a presence?
It is. I feel different here.
And that presence, is it a vibe?
That
Do you feel
presence
safe? Do you
is
feel more insecure?
pleasant
Do you
for
feel safe in
me.
other aspects? Do you feel less secure in other aspects? Does it switch?
That presence, I think, is pleasant for me because I grew up in it myself. But when some foreigners come, I don't think they all feel that the same because of specifics of
Because their vibration
each behavior.
has been
yeah.
tailored in that
Yeah,
environment to
And-
act a certain
yeah.
way, so that they know their placement in it.
Yeah, and I know parts of Czech Republic where I feel better, safer, even though I'm not from those regions. It's that more area where people are more open and friendly, and they live in the villages, small towns, and they grow wine, and they have their little fields behind the house or something, and some have wine cellars and have
Vineyards.
vineyards. Yeah, they have small, maybe not like something that they would produce for everyone, but for themselves. And they are very, I don't know, more human sort of.
Well, more resonating to you.
Yeah, yeah. We went there with my parents once for camping. We used to go different areas, and that we went there, and that reminds me of that presence. And yesterday you talked also about the feeling and when you went to Greece and how you felt there, and in that camp they took very nice care of us, even though they my parents had just ordered like breakfast
Yeah.
and supper, not lunch. So in the morning we would go into the area where they had the breakfast, and in the evening they gave, oh my god, that was plate like homemade food, and otherwise there were little wooden sort of cottages, small ones, really small ones, and we would go out. But the feeling of those people there in that camp and around the area was very nice. That was the presence. You feel nicer.
Yeah, this one's like a calming presence, an
Yeah.
on edge presence,
Yeah.
a presence where something is going to happen,
Yeah, that was friendly. presence.
untrustworthy presence,
Yeah.
something's not right presence,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
guarded presence,
Mm-hmm.
intention presence. Some people have intentions.
Yeah.
Usually this can be linked into their behavior, but without knowing their behavior, you'll pick up on that presence.
Yeah, you feel it. Right?
So when you can identify each feeling, people come into your field and give you that sort of, they almost alter your field.
Yeah. Yes, they do. I agree with that.
Interesting. But when you begin to identify and then begin to label your feelings or sensations, and I think that before we evolved to human form, I don't think we had any ears, and I don't think we had eyes. I think we had feeling,
Yeah.
the feeling, vibration
Yeah.
on skin, and this built a picture inside using the imagination. So if you imagine it, to close your eyes and imagine the environment based on feeling,
Yeah.
you can build a picture in the mind of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very interesting sort of
It is, isn't it?
way to understand things, and therefore is that where we get the feelings from? To be able to mate, you would need to be able to feel,
Yeah.
oh, this feels alright.
Yeah. Like a cells, because cells, when you look under microscopes, there's movement in them, and then they split and create like.
Yeah, but isn't it true with cells that they do different stuff when they're not watched as opposed to when they are watched? And the same to be true with light.
I think so. But we don't know what they do when we are not watching.
Yeah, but I think that's because the eyes pull in light.
Mm-hmm.
After all, it's a lot of darkness inside the eye.
Yeah.
It seems to want to absorb a lot of things into it. The push and the pull.
Mm-hmm.
The black hole versus the star. The star gives, the black hole pulls. Which one is doing what?
Yeah.
Is the light truly coming from the star? Or is the darkness pulling it?
That's a good question.
And without the darkness, would it pull the light? And without the light, would it push into the darkness?
Yeah. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
The push and the pull.
Makes me wonder.
So that presence. So when I say that I feel in these moments of high grief right now,
Yeah.
that something of a grandfather, grandma, it feels like it's hard to, you don't get hung up on whether it is or isn't.
No, you don't. You just.
Just come and sit down
Yeah.
and let's see what we can do together.
Yeah.
We will get you through this. Focus on me, don't focus on this.
Yeah.
This is temporal, this is permanent. Come on, come sit down, let's talk.
Yeah.
Share it with me. You don't need anybody else in this aspect. Let's push and pull. Let's begin to see what we can do with reality. Back and forth, back and forth. And there's that presence.
Yeah.
A presence. And there, it's warming. It's comforting. It's reassuring.
It is, isn't it?
Helpful. I don't know how you want to label all of this stuff, but to me, I'm not labeling it. In a way, I am and I'm not. How do you know it's there? You have to trust.
Yeah. You do.
Just like you trust the fact that there is air, although you can't see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, how can you prove that? You're breathing it, ain't you?
Yeah.
It's exchanging one from the other from your body, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you can't see it,
Mm.
but you trust it.
But humans have to prove everything and sometimes explain that. And
The same as with the divine.
just feel it.
Feel it. And go with that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a ding, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to wrap this one up, but still, very interesting. Push, pull. Presence. Feeling. Yeah, nice.